All right, welcome to our team call for February 12th. Before we dive in tonight, I just wanted to go over a couple quick announcements and just do kind of like housekeeping check-in type stuff. So as you guys know, it is Team Cup month, and I actually just posted in the team page because we had announced that we're going to do a team cup within our team. So we're going to be making custom t-shirts for the team cup winners of our team, our little team. So if you guys change the most lives, then you can be looking forward to that. But Elizabeth is also doing some really cool prizes for the top 3 teams within Team Drop the Cookie. So she's giving away a book and a Bluetooth keyboard that attaches to your cell phone, which is pretty awesome. And then they're also doing the grand prize for the top team. They're doing a business strategy call with Liz and Michael, which is absolutely incredible to get really hands-on mentoring for them. So if you're really gunning for big goals, that's a really fun thing to push for. But just know that there's lots of things, there's lots of reasons beyond just your normal goals to be pushing this month. So I just wanted to say, how are you guys doing with Team Cup Month? Are you checking in with your teams, holding each other accountable, really rallying together for goals? Because our team, we've been checking in almost every day, and it's been super helpful to just talk through certain objections, conversations, like sharing how we script things, invites, that type of stuff. Go ahead, whoever wanted to talk. I heard somebody. Maybe you just weren't muted. I don't know.
I was yelling at my dog, sorry.
Oh. Anyways, keep those fires lit within your teams. Like we said at the beginning of this month, this can really build the momentum this month, working with your Team Cup teams and just really rallying for your own personal goals. I know it's really lit a fire for me. And I just wanted to share this too. I posted it in the team page today, and I don't know who sees what, but the importance of tracking your vitals, because for a little while I had gotten kind of lax on that, and it's super hard to improve what you are not tracking. So if you are not tracking new conversations, new invites, follow-ups, it's super hard to know how much you're actually doing and what you can improve upon. So if you're like, well, it's halfway through the month and I'm not at SC yet and I didn't use any promo codes, like if you're not tracking your business, you have no way to go and look and think like, well, I need to double up on my invites, or I need to be starting more new connections so that I have new people to invite. Tracking your business is so key. And I have been like a fiend with my notebook every single day. And it just really, really helps with the momentum and just getting lots of new conversations and lots of energy going with your vitals. So I just wanted to throw that out there, because sometimes we all need a reminder of the simple things that really keep our businesses growing and moving forward. So the other thing is that if you didn't catch the memo that we've been posting a million times, but anyone who signs up with the challenge pack this month is getting a free box of pumpkin spice Shakeology, which is huge because it's like a $70 value, right? And it's one of our most popular seasonal flavors that people typically love to get their hands on. And it's a huge bonus to let new customers know that that's an added value that they get when they jump in this month. And keep in mind too, I have been personally suggesting with everyone that I'm going to sign up, digging a little more into their nutrition. Are they struggling with sugar cravings, binge eating? You know, do they need more flexibility, or do they need more structure? Because right now when you add, this has been ongoing, but when you add Ultimate Portion Fix or 2B Mindset to a challenge pack, if they're signing up as a coach or a discount coach, it's $35 to add it to their challenge pack, which is a huge value. And they're getting a month free of the 2B Mindset or Ultimate Portion Fix. I can't even think of what you call it right now. I'm having a brain fart, but like the master group with the actual, with Autumn or with Alana. So that's a huge added value too. And super easy to just say, like, this nutrition plan is typically $119 on its own, but you can add it right now for $35 if they're signing up as a discount coach. So huge bonus for people. Yes, the monthly mindset membership, monthly fix. Huge value to really help people that need that structure or that help with nutrition, to have something more than the basic plan that comes with challenge packs right now. So just be in the know of that, of pumpkin spice, adding on nutrition plans. And what else did I want to say? Action takers. If you're not in the action takers group, we are doing accountability in there right now for vital behaviors. So we've been doing a poll the last like month or so. I started this week posting a graphic to really show your tracker, like put some skin in the game, just show up and share. And if you're not going to post your tracker, that's fine. I'm making an effort to pop in there every day and share how many new conversations, how many invites, how many follow-ups I'm doing, because it's great accountability for me to show up, but it's also great accountability for us to hold each other accountable to doing the things that grow our businesses. So if you're not in there, make sure you get in there. And I am currently adding some content to the units in there. There are all the new coach videos in there, but that's kind of going to become our new coach and like emerald to diamond level-ish training. So you'll be seeing me add content in there slowly, but so that we have a hub to place new coaches and people that really want to run with the business, because that's really important to have. So make sure that you're in there, make sure that you're adding your new coaches in there. And I think that's it. Does anybody have any recognition that they want to shout out this week?
I want to shout out Rachel for her 100th day today.
Yay, finishing morning.
Congratulations.
And what, 5 months postpartum, right? Crushing it. I love it. Congrats, Ray.
Thank you. So fun.
If you guys don't ever see her stories, you should check her out working out with the baby in tow. It's so inspiring. Okay, so I think we should do something new, because recognition, some weeks we have some things to shout out and some weeks we don't. So I'm just going to go ahead and say, pick someone on the team that you want to shout out for something that they're doing amazing right now. And it can be anyone for any reason, but go ahead and type it in the comments. I love it. Hell yeah, to Laura for sure. And just pushing through a hard season of life and still showing up, which we're going to talk about tonight too. Awesome. I love it. Lots to celebrate. Okay, so one last announcement that I forgot, or two actually. So the Success Club trip for next year has been announced to go to Riviera Maya. So if you want to be able to potentially be able to go on that trip, which yes, you do, make sure you get on the opt-in list for that. That just means that you're opting in to be able to come off the wait list. And just know that if you are consistently hitting Success Club, you can earn that trip in full. That is how it is earned. It is earned by helping people consistently every single month. And to me, I don't look at the trip as an incentive. I look at it like a cherry on top for showing up and doing our work as coaches and doing what we should be doing to change lives and build our businesses. And that's just something we get rewarded for. So get on that opt-in list. What did you say, Steph? If you decline, yes, you'll most likely get the opt-in down the road. If you aren't positive, you could go now, but just get yourself on that list, do yourself a favor. And then Rachel shared something with me this week that I had never really thought about before, but she said that she opted in because it holds her more accountable to be more consistent, which is what she wants to be doing in her business. So it's like putting a little extra skin in the game, a little extra motivation to really earn that trip. And then on I think it said 2-6, but that can't be right. Sorry, I'm looking. Oh yeah, it said 2-6, but is that possible? Anyways, the new flavor of Energize mixed berry is coming out. It says 2/6 in the Coach Online office, but I don't know how that can be possible because 2/6 is already passed. So that must be a typo. It must be March 6th, I'm guessing. We'll have to clarify on that, but just know that a brand new flavor of Energize is coming out. So
I think it's May. And
May.
they may have announced it on the 6th because they announced it at NLC. So maybe that's what it was.
I can't log in now anyways to see it. So we'll clarify on that. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So that's it for fun, exciting announcements.
FAQ says May. You're right.
It does. Okay. So May, Mixed Berry Energize is coming. Okay. So I'm not going to do much of an intro because I want Amanda to be able to share a little bit of her story, and I want her to have plenty of time to just talk about her journey and just showing up in her business and earning a New Leadership Conference because she got to attend last week. But I thought Amanda would be an incredible speaker, and I have to tell you guys that every time I scroll by her posts on social media, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's amazing. Like with just like her pictures are they're scroll stopping, and her words just like draw you in to hear exactly what she has to say. And I feel like something that is a great strength and skill to have as coaches is to make people really like feel like they're a part of your story, or like they're feeling like they're watching you transform through things. And you do such an amazing job of that, Amanda. I'm always like,
Thank you.
So Amanda, you can take it away and tell us more about your story. I posted a little bit of that post you did that one time where you said like year 1, year 2, and you kind of summed up things
Yes.
you've gone through, because I love that. Like, I love how much you shared that like success is not a straight line, and there are ups and downs in your life and in your business, and just the importance of that long-term vision and that long-term mindset, and having things that you're fighting to work towards, and learning how to really be resilient and overcome obstacles in your life to keep growing and keep going. And you do that so amazingly. So I'm so excited.
Thank you. Well, I have to say the same exact thing about you. I mean, I just can always relate. I think you do an amazing job of everything you just mentioned. So I am always looking up to you. But I appreciate that so much. But yeah, I think one of the biggest topics at NLC was definitely resiliency. And, you know, every single person sitting in that room essentially, you know, decided to make that decision of, am I going to throw in the towel, or am I going to keep showing up? Because everyone in there, you know, has a different story. Everyone has to fight through this. Life is not easy. And, you know, I think that's probably the biggest thing about what we do is there's always life isn't, it's not a straight line. Like Dana said, you know, you're going to have stuff that's going to be thrown at you. And then it's your decision at that point, you know, am I going to keep going, or am I just going to kind of let it go? And what are you going to miss out on by doing that? And that's a tough question that I've had to ask myself maybe several times. But, you know, always having that vision of, you know, that really strong vision of, you know, what you want your life to be like, and how you see yourself and what you're fighting for, reminding yourself of what you're fighting for every single day. And yeah, so do you want me to kind of talk about, I guess the beginning, where we start?
Yeah, I just want to clarify real quick if there's coaches on that don't exactly understand what NLC is, because I know you're going to get to sharing a little bit about that. But New Leadership Conference is a conference that you earn by becoming a 1-star diamond and having at least 10 elite points, which we're not going to go into how you earn those tonight. We've had a call about it before that you could watch a recording about. But essentially, it's there from you hitting Success Club, helping new people, bringing on new customers, bringing on new coaches, helping your coaches do the same, like duplicating the basics. But it's an incredible, incredible event where you get to go to LA, see headquarters, hear from up and coming leaders, and just really learn those key leadership lessons as you're really starting to grow a bigger, more sustainable business and step into that leadership role. Amanda, I would love if you would give a little of like your backstory, like why you dove into coaching, kind of how you working full time, and then what you went through in your personal life and how that really shifted your mindset and how
Mhm.
it really propelled you to go all in on this
Yes.
incredible life you're building.
Thank you. Yes. So I really decided to go all in with that mental shift and in diving into the business 100% when I had my son. Previous to that, I was one of those kind of flies on the wall, didn't really know much about coaching, was really intrigued by it, but really kind of skeptical and the whole 9 yards. So when I had my son, I decided, you know what, now is my time. I'm going to have a transformation. It's going to be amazing. And I think any goal that we are working towards, we have to have that attitude, or it's never going to get there. You're never going to do it. So I jumped in, committed to, I think it was PIO, had started sharing my transformation. And that's when I started to build and grow my business. So that was 2015. I also had the giant motivation to not go back to work full time. I was completely miserable in my previous job. I was commuting like 3 hours a day in total. I just didn't live. I wasn't really focusing on my health. I was just pretty much miserable. So that was a big motivation for me. And I could see kind of the freedom and flexibility, that coaching could provide. And I was craving it so badly. And so that's when I made the decision. And so from there, I jumped in 100% on my transformation, shared my journey, started, signing coaches up, started building a business. And I hit Diamond. I want to say it was September of 2016. And then about that same year, was it September? No, September 2015. I'm sorry. Then 10 months later, so I was kind of like on this high from just, feeling like on top of the world because of my transformation. I hit Diamond. Things were going great. Was like, oh, I'm going to fast track myself. This is going to be awesome. So we ended up going on this family vacation. Like I said, life was good. My husband's job was really good. We didn't really have, money issues and that sort of thing until I came home from vacation. And I would say it was a Tuesday night. We went to bed just as any other night. My husband woke up to me, shaking violently, like just having this horrible seizure. He thought I was dying. He had no idea what was going on. Called the ambulance. Ambulance came. I went to the hospital. I was extremely out of it. Like I was like, why am I going? Like what's going on? And come to find out, they had done an MRI and they found a brain tumor in, like, I still have a scar, but this kind of part of my brain. And so that came as a major shock because previous to that, I assumed I was super healthy. I had no seizures. I had no issues. I was like doing Beachbody. I was like, feeling amazing. So there really wasn't anything that kind of tipped me off. So I ended up at that point, I didn't even know, like I was kind of like numb, like I became numb. I didn't really know kind of what my next step was going to be. That became my prior focus. So instead of like hitting Success Club and like going for All-Star, like things just completely took me by surprise, and we had to figure out what my next step was going to be. So we ended up having various meetings, in the city in Boston and trying to figure out what we were going to do in terms of surgery. And we didn't know if it was cancerous. We didn't know kind of what the situation was. So we had to, be really careful with that. So somehow we ended up getting an appointment with this surgeon who was on Boston Med, like really amazing surgeon. And my husband said, "What are you doing this Friday?" to the surgeon. And he was like, I'm leaving on vacation, but I think I can squeeze you in. So he was like, do you want to do it? And I was like, absolutely. Like, I need to get through this. Like, I need to get it done and over with, and I need to move on with my life and not have this kind of control my life and take me down. Right. So I'm like, I need to just get it done and over with. So at that point I had been like terrified. My son was 11 months old. Like, my life was essentially flipping upside down because I thought to myself, like, I could die. Like, I could not come out of this. I could be totally screwed up. Like, I don't know if I'll be able to walk or talk or after surgery. Like, there were so many things that were going through my head. And so, long story short, I ended up getting the surgery. Thank God I was healthy and I was really strong from doing the workouts and from just, doing what we do. That I was able to recover really fast. I went home, I want to say in like, I don't know, it was like a day. It was like 24. It was crazy right after the surgery. And people, when they saw the picture of me smiling in the hospital bed, they were like, you did not just have brain surgery, because that's just not real. That's not fair. And I was like, no, like, I swear. So anyway, I was able to go home. But from that point, I thought to myself, how the heck am I gonna move on with this business? I can't do any workouts for at least 6 weeks. I can't even pick up my son. I have to be babysat. I can't drive. I'm on medications. I was like getting ill from being on steroids, from the swelling, and like, it was completely miserable. So I had people coming to my house, essentially babysitting me while I rested and recovered. But I knew it was really important that I did that. So I kind of felt like I was like losing my independence and just like needing to rely on people all the time. And I hated that. Because like as a mom, like you're just like, I can do this. I don't need any help. And I learned so much from going through that I had, like, you have to be humble enough to like ask for help when you need it, like with your business, with anything in life. And so I magically kind of gained this new perspective on like just life. I was so grateful I was amazed that I was alive, like that I, was able to wake up after that. And I just had this incredible new perspective and motivation and like this newfound inspiration to show people. And I said to myself at that point, this is my time to show people what they can truly do, what they're truly capable of. So at that point, I decided, okay, like, what's the next program? Like, it's 22-minute hardcore, I think. And there were like push-ups involved. And so I ended up, my goal at that point, and I have a goal with every program that I do, is I need to gain my strength back, because I was feeling weak on the outside from laying in a hospital bed and laying down all day. And I was feeling weak on the inside. I was feeling like I was dependent on other people. I needed to gain my confidence back. I needed to like be a total badass. So that was my goal. And I remember going live kind of at the end of that program and doing like 22 push-ups live, because I said, previous to this, I could barely do one. I was feeling, I was telling everybody how I was feeling. Right. And that, I think, is quintessential to kind of what we do as a coach. It's telling your story. I wasn't going on and talking about, somebody else's story and what they had been through. Like, I was living it. And when people can see that this is real, that it's not about the moves in the program, or it's not about the plan or the workouts, it's about what you're doing with it in your life and what it's doing for you personally. Oh, can you go in the other room, honey?
I want to.
And so I think that was a really important thing, was tying that in. And what I try to do now is, where am I? I ask myself, where am I in my life right now? What do people need to hear from me? What am I going through? And how can I show them what is possible? And that's something I always try to live by, because if you're not telling your story, I think you're missing out, right? Because there's a reason why we're all doing this, and it's what's going to set you apart as a coach. And that was one of the things that they talked about at the New Leader Conference, was why join you versus joining somebody else, and knowing that having the confidence that you have your own unique story and your own unique situation, that you were given this mountain to climb for a reason, and that no one else was given this mountain. And you know what? Like, honestly, I was really frustrated with my journey. I was frustrated. I was a little bit angry that I had the brain tumor. I was a little frustrated as to where I was at. I had to make some serious decisions, right, as to how I was going to move forward. And then I realized, like, it was a blessing. It really was a blessing in disguise. Not that situation, but who I became because of it, and what I was able to show people. And I remember, like, even going through pregnancy and going through the brain tumor, and like, people said to me, wow, like, you've been through that. Like, I can do a program. If you did that and then did a program, I can do a program, you know? And so I just kind of used that, and I used it as motivation all the time. Anything and everything I'm going through now, like, I will always use that as my motivation, because I believed from my core that I was meant to tell a story. I was meant to show people what's possible. And I think that that's one of the things, you know, that you guys have to find for yourselves too, is what's your purpose, right? And I think that this platform is such an incredible way to show people what your purpose is. We're not selling products. We're not, like, it's not a quick transaction. This is so much deeper than that. And that, like, I think we are so blessed to have this platform specifically. But yeah. So fast forward to new leader, like, I didn't know how I was going to get past Diamond, right? So, like, March would roll around and I would remind myself of the brain tumor, and I'm like, that was the month you missed All-Star. That was the month. And that little voice inside my head was like, you're not good enough. You can't do this. And I said, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to do this anyway. And I'm going to just keep doing it until I hit it. And that's exactly what I did. I'm going to keep showing up. And even if you miss it or you miss a goal, you just got to keep showing up. And so the year after my brain tumor was when my rock star coach joined my team. And I have other emerging rock stars, right? But my diamonds had joined the year after I went through the brain tumor. And I mean, it's just testament, right? You just don't give up. Because if I had given up, I never would have seen that. And I never would have gone on this trip. And there's just so many things, right, that never would have happened if I had given up at that point. So yeah, that's kind of like how, I guess, it took me a while and I was frustrated, but I was meant to go through that. I was meant to take that time. I needed that time. And, you know, and then it happens. So your story is going to be different from mine. It's going to be different from Dana's. I learned that you cannot compare yourself ever. Always focus on yourself, your own journey, like, put those blinders on. It was probably one of the best pieces of advice I could have ever heard. Because own it, own your story, own exactly what you're going through, and share the heck out of it. Because that's the good stuff. That's the stuff people relate to. And those are the people that, you know, you're going to inspire. And you know what? You're not going to speak to everybody, but you don't want to speak to everybody. You want to speak to your people, your tribe, the people that are inspired by you. Those are the people that are going to, you know, that are going to be your tribe and take you to the next level. Right. And grow as a team.
I just
so yeah.
Shout you out for a second, because Amanda and I were chatting before the call, and I was asking her, like, if she wanted to, like, sum up her, you know, kind of like her history and her accolades and stuff. She's like, well, I don't have a ton of accolades. And I was like, the biggest accolade that she has talked about tonight that precedes anything else in this business is what she said. It's like that ability to never give up. Like, if you didn't hit that goal last year, you flopped the last 2 years, or you didn't see growth like you wanted to, like, that ability to, like, draw that line in the sand again and say, I'm going to show up differently this year. And this is going to be my year. This is going to be the year that I overcome the things that held me back before, or I push through those limiting beliefs I have, or I shut up that inner mean girl in my head that's telling me I can't, and like, I'm going to crush this. And I think just your story is such a testament to that, because what you said, and I can so relate to that, of saying you're thankful for what you went through, not because you wanted to go through the situation. I can relate to that. It sucks when you're going through it, but like, you're thankful because of who you became because of it. But that is a choice. That's not something that just happens. It's a choice who you choose to become through that, whether it's your business or your life struggles. And I think that you choose to take it and do good with it and make an impact with it. And that's so huge. So I would love if you would share a little bit about just like your experience at NLC and why it's such an impactful event to get to, because we actually have a handful of coaches on our team that are really rallying to get to this year. Just why it's such a game changer, because I've seen a shift even in your posts in the last week of like really stepping into that leadership. And I think that's the massive like mental shift that happens when you go there.
Yeah, such a confidence builder. I think it's really that point, I think for me, was like, okay, I'm here, and it's that level up, but not because you achieved it. It's like, you know, I don't know. It's confidence. I think it's confidence, really.
Yeah, and it's like you deserve to be there. Like you're sitting in that room with a couple hundred people, and you're like, "Holy shit! I brought myself here."
Yeah, it's like this realization, and you're like, I've like not by any means made it, but I made it here. And if I can make it here, then I can make it there. And it's like it's connecting those dots. And I think that even from that point, like, you don't necessarily have to go all the way, but you can see what you're capable of, I think, at that point. So it's really, really empowering. And like they pull out all the stops. We got to try Mix Very Energized. We got to do 10 rounds with Joel. Like, you're like literally chatting with Joel about his favorite band. Like, it's everything that like we would love to do on a regular basis. But yeah, I mean, just the energy
with Elise. Let's not
like, I freaking went on stage with Elise. Like I went up to her and talked to her, and like, to think when I started, I was like, no way would I ever do that. Like, I've become so much more confident that, I mean, we say that, but like for real. And like going up to Elise and saying like, I'm a ballet dancer and I just like love your and like, you know, she's like, okay. She was so nice. And then she like invited some of us, you know, up on stage, and I was like, I have to do this. Like, and I was so nervous. I was so nervous about going to begin with, because I said, I'm going by myself. I don't really know anybody. Like, I was kind of terrified. But when you get there, you realize how nice everybody is, and how everyone's there for, you know, they're there to level up. Like, you're surrounded by just people that want the same thing. They're all in. So it's just such a cool energy and a cool feeling, and you feel like everyone understands you, like exactly what you're going through. You can like network and talk about struggles and talk about like tips and tricks, and like, it's just the coolest. It's so hard to describe, but just the coolest trip. And like the fact that like even just getting a hotel room, like king size bed, like all to myself, like it was like, I never would have done that hadn't it been for like this opportunity. Like, I never would have just gone on a trip by myself with, you know, like wouldn't have paid for a hotel. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things where it was just such a cool opportunity. And yeah, I mean, they give us like, drinks and dinner, and like, we did games, we did like hilarious games. Like, I mean, it was a lot of fun, but I have to say, like, I was extremely nervous about going. I'm not the most outgoing person. It's not like I was gung ho, right? But once I got there, I was like, I'm meant to be here. And I felt a sense of worthiness, like for the first time, I realized like I worked for it, you know, and it's such, and that's like, it's that appreciation, even like when you guys, like, I know some of you are doing like Morning Meltdown 100, like the work that you put in, it's so hard to describe it, but it is so worth it, because you realize that you deserve it. And it's that sense of self-worth that I had been craving for so long, that like sometimes like maybe you search for other things, like void, you know, you try to fill this void, right? And for me, it was like, I worked for this, and realizing I deserve this. And it was so hard for me to say that for so long, that I deserved something, because I felt selfish. Like, especially as a mom, you're like, oh, it has to be about other people all the time, and I'm not doing enough, and you never feel like you're enough. And like, I just stepped into this like sense of like, I'm worthy of my dreams. And if I want to make this happen, I can make it happen, you know? And it's like coming to that realization. So that was one of the coolest parts. And of course, like meeting people from all over the country, like, you know, and all the perks, right? Getting the tour of the Beachbody headquarters. Like, I remember seeing Dana go on the trip, and I was like, I would love to go on that trip. That looks so amazing. And like, yes, like it all is, but I think more so it's your own journey, and coming to that point and realizing like how far you've come, and kind of like just realizing where you can go is cool.
Yeah, I totally agree with that feeling of like, just because like you in your own head, like nobody knows that story of like where you started from and how hard it was just to like start your own journey and like get consistent with fitness and like post on social media, and then like, and it's almost like it sums it all up in like one feel swoop of like, holy shit, like all of those little tiny moves, like showing up every single day and not quitting hard, and people quit on me, and people said no to me, and like I got here, like I made it here. And that's so true what you said, when it's like, when you get there, then you're like, if I can get here, I can go to what's next, or I can go anywhere. And that's such a powerful feeling for sure. Did you have any guest speakers that you felt were impactful at New Leadership? I'm always curious to know who the speakers were.
Yeah. Kelsey Hill was like at New Leader last year, and was top 10 elite. So she was like, she's going on the top 10 elite trip. She was number 10, I think. But I mean, literally like young. She just said, I just outworked myself. I mean, it's amazing. She really committed to her Instagram, right? So building her following on Instagram, but like there were no secret like tips, right? It's consistency, you know, and showing up, and like everyone brought up the tracker, and it was like, wow, I realized kind of everything that I kind of knew I needed to do, but wasn't really doing. I'm like, that's what's going to get me to the next level. And it's getting real with yourself. And I had a conversation with Mackenzie, who also was there, and it was just, you know, you kind of know, I think as a coach, you know, you do it for a little while, you kind of know what you need to do in order to get to the next level. It's just a matter of doing it. So I ended up making on the plane ride home, I had quiet time for once in my life. So I wrote down kind of everything that I needed to do, and that I kind of knew I needed to do in my own life. So I made a schedule, right? Because days get really hectic. For like the first time, I just committed to some of these things that I knew I needed to do, but just hadn't done. So I just said, all right, it's game time. Like, you know, like it's great that I was there, but like, it's time to level up. And like, that's what this is about. It's not about like, okay, I reached 1 star and I've made it and cool. No, it's like, now I know that I need to level up, and I need to like get real with myself. And if I'm going to do this thing, what is required of me at this next level? Because like Rachel Hollis said last year at Summit, what got you here is not going to get you there. And I freaking love that quote, because it's just so true. And I'm like, okay, what am I not doing? And I realized, like Dana said, the tracker, right? The tracker. Like, it's such a simple thing, but it's getting real with those simple things. And because it's not, what gets you there is not sexy. It's doing the things. And we know more than anybody what those things are, right? Like, if we're not consistent with X, Y, or Z, you know, it's doing those things. Yeah.
Oh.
So.
I wanted to, can you guys hear me? Oh, yes. Okay. Now I'm here. I just wanted to shine a light for a second because I want to kind of ask you to reflect on like what components do you think has helped you gain more confidence? Because after your brain surgery, which is still like insane, like I work with a lot of people who have had brain surgeries and they do not, you know, come back to who they were exactly afterwards. So it is amazing. Kudos to your medical team, and your resilience. But after that happened, I remember going to the leadership at Liz's with you, and you didn't want to talk about that experience on there. You didn't feel comfortable kind of sharing that journey with everyone because you thought people were it was like a pity party for you. So what do you think it was, like personal development or just doing the things that has kind of progressed over the last couple of years of you gaining confidence to just kind of owning your story and sharing that? Because it's like night and day from the Amanda that started and the Amanda that's coaching and out there on social media today.
Yeah, that is, sorry, my dog is growling. She's like, gets angry at her own tail. But yeah, thank you for, I guess, realizing that. I mean, people say that, you know, about you, about your journey, because they see it from the outside and sometimes you don't realize like kind of how far you've come. But I think I was afraid. I think there was a level of fear, right? In overcoming that fear of like telling my story and really owning my story. And I think just diving into, I mean, yeah, personal development. I mean, I've had to read confidence books up the wazoo. I mean, Rachel Hollis really helped me, but like everyone's so different. Like Danielle Natoni is like, I don't struggle with confidence. Like I did. I really was like, I was not feeling like I was worthy. I felt like I shouldn't be sharing my story because I didn't want to feel selfish, like I was drawing attention to myself. But I also say like, in a level of like spirituality, I really started to dive into that for myself and realizing like, you know, yeah, like diving into my purpose. Like, I don't know, maybe like resources like a purpose-driven life or like things like that, where you like, once you become confident with, you know, your own purpose, you're able to be unapologetic about your story. And, yeah, I just think that this whole entire platform, me just showing up day in and day out, built my confidence over time. It's been a journey. It didn't just happen overnight where I realized like, you know, oh, I'm ready to share my story now. You know, it was showing up every day, you know, through that process that I think helped me develop that. Yeah, and just stepping out of my comfort zone, like doing the things that scare you the most, like having the conversations with the people. Well, you need to get down, honey. Having those conversations, doing the live videos or talking on your Insta stories, or like doing the thing that scares you the most is what is really gonna help you grow and step into that person that you know you're meant to become.
Get your glasses on. Composure for having a kid crawling on you. I don't know how. I think I'm kind of curious, along with what Annalisa was saying, but like the mindset shift you had. Like if you could sum it up, like prior to what you went through, like what your mentality was about your business versus now, like the difference of like really having a vision and believing in it, like believing that if you show up consistently enough, doing it long enough, like that's going to happen for you. Because I personally think that's it's an internal shift. Like we can so easily look out to be like, I'm going to find the answer in this book or in this training or in this whatever. And like, if you've been in the business for a while, like, you know that it, like, you have that shift in the beginning when you decide to really go all in, but like all throughout the years of your business, like you have ups and you have downs and you have like where you hit a wall and like you can't get motivated and you're stuck. And then you have to like light that fire again and like push towards something greater. And I personally think like it's a big mental shift. So like in your experience, like what was that like for you, your mentality of like coming in and kind of being like, well, like, you know, now I'm a mom and like that's my motivation, versus now where you're like, you're really all in it and you're building something big. Does that make sense?
Oh, that's tough. That is really tough. I think it's, yeah, I mean, our vision, like, I do vision board, like I do the things every year, but like, I mean, yeah, vision boarding, reminding yourself. I mean, I think it just comes down for me, that question of asking myself, taking ownership. Number one, no one is going to do this for you. Like I kept having to ask myself, am I going to do the work or am I not going to do the work? Like, what do I want? And I think I almost have to ask myself that every day or every time that I don't want to send the messages, right? Like I struggle with sending messages. I don't know why. But you have to, and I talked to Mackenzie about this at Leadership too, is like, you have to do the thing that you don't want to do, like all the time. Like you just the more you don't do it and you get paralyzed by it, the more it's going to hold you back and the worse it's going to get. So it's almost like, she's like, it's almost like when you don't do your workout for 3 weeks and then all of a sudden you're doing your workout again. Like it's the same thing, like with your pipeline, with your, you know, everything that you're doing. It's that level of consistency that's really important. But I think, yeah, it's the commitment to yourself and what you're doing and why you are showing up and doing the darn thing every single day. And I think you have to find your unique spin on it. Like, I mean, whenever there's a new program, right? Like, I know that my job is to do that program. I don't care how I feel about it. Like, I wasn't excited to do 6 weeks of the work. I was terrified, but I said, this is what I need to do. And it's too bad I don't want to do it because I'm scared of it. But literally, I think that's what this business is all about. It's like literally facing your fears all the time. And it's so uncomfortable. And like, sometimes you just hate it so much, but then you're like, damn, I did that. And I feel so good. And now I'm going to share it with everybody. Like, that's what keeps your enthusiasm going. It's not like you wake up and you're like, oh, I'm going to do 6 weeks of the work today and it's going to be amazing. Like, you want to die. But then you're like, I did that. And I didn't think I could do that. That looked extremely terrifying. And I think that about pretty much every single program. There's always going to be those challenges. So we're not going to be excited to show up. And like, especially after, coaches are doing this for years and years. Like, I've been doing this for years. Dana's been doing this for years. Annalisa for years. So, I mean, I'm sure kind of how I feel is kind of the same way you guys feel about it, is you have to find a way to keep the enthusiasm alive. You have to find, because if you don't, you're not going anywhere. Nothing's going to happen. So you have to find something that's going to keep that spark. So, I mean, I find I always come up with new goals. Like, I'm like, okay, I would love to get back to an open ballet class. I want to take class at Boston Ballet. That's my goal this time. But that wasn't my goal right after I had my baby. My goal was to like literally like show up and like try to do a workout while nursing. Like, I just, it was just completely different. So you have to kind of figure out where you are in your own journey and say, okay, what's a goal that would really excite me to make myself show up? And then I can tell that story. Like, oh, I would love to like do that. And then when you show up every day, all of a sudden you realize, oh my gosh, now I feel like I have the confidence. I can go take class at Boston Ballet, and I did that thing. And now I'm going to share about it because that was a goal that was really important to me. And I think also too, not apologizing for your goals. Like your goals, like I don't care what your goals are. Like they could be so seemingly silly that you're like, I don't even want to say it. It's so silly, but it's important because it's on your heart for a reason. And like, don't apologize for it. Like your goal could literally be anything. Like my goal often has to do with like dancing because that's what I love, but your goal might be something totally different. So like find stuff that's going to excite you and then tie that to exactly to what you're doing so that you can build up the confidence and then you have a story to tell. Like I think that's exciting. So that's something that helps me, I think.
That was like such good advice, all of it. Like the whole concept of like always finding things to get excited about, embracing the shit that's hard, that sucks, that gets monotonous, that like scares the shit out of you, that you don't love doing, but like those are the things you know are going to get you to where you got to go. So either you want to get there and you're going to do it, or you don't want to get there and you're not. Like it's what you said about taking the ownership component is really, that's it. That's the magic. And staying excited, because it's when you're doing the same thing over and over and over, like we have to look for ways to get creative and stay engaged and stay passionate and stay excited and stay pumped up about what we're doing. So I love that. And I think if you guys don't follow her on social media, you should go check her out because her post with Bar, like it makes me want to go be a ballet dancer. I just want to be so graceful.
Yes.
It's exactly what you're saying because it gets people so excited about what you're doing, even if they're not doing that. It makes me feel like I could do ballet, but I really couldn't. But
I think you look great doing it.
so, does anybody have questions for Amanda? Don't all jump at once. Does anybody want to shout out something they heard tonight that they felt like was impactful or helpful for them? There's lots of good stuff here.
I'll go ahead and say, first of all, thank you for sharing your story. I mean, it's very inspiring, and obviously, like, many of us can take away that you can do hard things and keep going in this business. You don't have to give up one or the other, you know? So thank you for sharing. And I love that you put out there that you I love that you were just honest and you were like, I still hate sending messages, because it's like, there are things that like nobody really wants to do. Like there are parts of this business that we're like, this sucks. I really don't want to do this right now. I'm like, you know, inviting every day, showing up every day, being consistent every day. Like sometimes you're not that consistent and like, you're just like, I just want to go Netflix binge. Like you know, and just not be here. So definitely it's nice to kind of hear, even though like you have pushed so hard in your business and come so far from where you started, it's really kind of it's just nice to hear like that honest truth.
Thanks.
Anybody else? Saw some smiles tonight, so that's usually by this time we're all like So Amanda, anything else you wanted to share? We try to respect everybody's time and hop off by 9:30. I'm trying to get better about this.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I just, I really appreciate you guys. You guys make it worthwhile to like show up, and you know, it's all about leaning into one another and like finding the joy in the journey, like 100%. Like we are blessed. We're blessed to have this. We're blessed to have each other. We're in this for a reason. Like keep shining, keep doing your thing. It's worth it. Like you got this. Just have confidence.
Love that. I was going to ask you for like one word of wisdom to end it, but you just did it. So thank you so much for taking time out of your night and coming to share your story and your experience and just your wisdom with us, for your grit and your grace and your resiliency and your never give up spirit, because that's really something that's so important to have as coaches. So thank you so much for tonight.
Thank you. Thank you guys.
Appreciate it. I will post the recording. I'll share it with you too, Amanda, in case you want to share it.
Thank you.
And we'll see
Awesome.
you next week.
All right.
Night, ladies.
Bye, everyone. Take care.